You're listening to Biz-Souls, the business podcast with an edge, hosted by me, Rona Lewis, and Jeffrey Hansler. Tune in for perspectives and discoveries about the changing world of business. It's time to connect to the heart, soul, and humor of how business gets done. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Biz-Souls. I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler.
And this
is Willy.
This is Willy, yeah. One of Jeffrey's kitties, who is now running away. Don't put me on camera.
Exactly.
He's very camera shy.
He is camera shy. Well, he is a minor, so he probably shouldn't be on the camera.
That's true. Anyway, so I'm a big fan of Johnny Thomson, who was on our...
Wait, we just skipped the introduction. Hi, Biz-Souls. I'm Rona Lewis.
You didn't say yours?
No.
Oh, all right, let's start over again.
You want to start over again?
Now let's just keep going. Okay, so...
Anyway,
so
we get to the heart and soul of business and the people that make it happen.
Okay,
And
I'm
Jeffrey Hansler. I'm just the other guy.
He's the other guy.
This is the Rona show.
Yeah, so, well, I got thrown up by the cat. I can't lift up my dog, who has been at the side of like almost every single show we've done. Although
right.
not now.
He's not here.
No, he's in there. He's 13 and a half, so he's like,
I
don't want to do it. I'm comfortable.
Oh, is that a Billy Crystal
He's
thing?
an old Jewish man. Never mind.
Never mind, it's not with it.
Yeah, forget it. Let me know if they have lemonade at dinner. All right. Yeah. I'll be there at 4:30. Okay. So anyway, we digress.
We've been peaking. I hope the sound comes out.
I hope so too. Okay. So anyway, why are we here? Because I'm a big fan, like I said, of our buddy Johnny Thomson, who is a philosopher, written a couple of books called Mini Philosophy, which, by the way, I own. And there's a follow-up to that. I think it's more Mini Philosophy.
He's just an all-around good guy.
He's amazing. And I was in London, and we missed each other. He's about an hour outside of London, and he was out of town doing
me.
No, he was doing a TEDx talk.
Oh, okay.
He got to do a TED talk. So I thought that was really cool. But anyway, so if you haven't subscribed to Big Think, do it. He's amazing. So
or just listen to our podcast with Johnny.
Because I'm going to try to get him. We're going to talk about this, and I want to actually email him and say you got to come back. We have to talk about this again. All right. That was a very long intro, and his article is The Nietzsche Thesis: Why We Don't Really Care About the Truth. And I thought this is so timely, and the subtitle is Your BS Detector Might Not Be as Accurate as You Think. Wholeheartedly agree.
Absolutely, 100%.
And so he talks about the notion of epistemic vigilance, which argues that humans are naturally equipped to detect lies and gauge the reliability of others, which is wrong. It's just wrong. We suck at it.
So Rona sends this to me, and she says, hey, we should do this for a podcast. And I'm thinking, because we're on both sides of the aisle politically, on different sides of the aisle politically. And I'm going, she's finally realizing that she's coming over to the truth side. And so anyway, I told her, I forewarned her, I might bring up one of the topics for politics. Before you get started though, can I talk about something else real quick?
Do I have a choice? Because you haven't taken a breath.
Yeah,
so
no.
Go ahead.
So this is, I think it's from the 19th century. Truth and lie legend tells the day when truth and lie meet. They go swimming, and lie after bathing. So lie convinced truth to go bathing, and they went bathing in a well. And then after bathing, truth gets up. Quick.
I'm confused already.
Okay.
Can you just read it?
Lie tells truth. No, because this is a short version.
Okay.
Lie tells truth. Hey, we should bathe. The water's nice. And truth doesn't believe lie because lie is a lie.
Because lie is a liar.
And then truth tests the water, and the water is very pleasant. And so then lie says you should go bathe in it. And then truth says, well, maybe I shouldn't. And then truth decides to go bathe in it. Now, really, that's kind of what a lie is. A con artist. They get you a con artist. You'd think
it's a partial truth sometimes.
And in this case, it was truth. So then truth trusts lie. Lie gets in and bathes for a second, and then jumps out, grabs truth's clothes, puts truth on, and goes out into the world. And then truth, now naked, gets out of the bath, and people are horrified at seeing naked truth.
But
So they run away. So truth runs and hides, and lie is what rules the world.
I'm thinking you should practice that a couple times before you use it for your programs.
Well, yeah. I mean, I got to work on it, and it's also the segue. It's the segue to Nietzsche's.
The core idea is that we actually don't look for truth. We want social status. We want us to look good. You know, we have confirmation bias. All those things. We want to hear things so that we are right, that make us feel good, and that bring in, social status.
Exactly. And you also said, if somebody comes up and let me see, they're good looking. And
I haven't gotten to that yet. But I'm just coming to it now. So go right ahead.
If somebody's good looking, if they're charming, charismatic, they come up. They're trust looking. They look like they could do a TED talk.
You stole my line. He stole my line. So basically, if you look like you could do a TED talk, I believe you. And our BS detectors are actually vibe detectors, and they're a little glitchy. They're like AI. They may lie. And they lie to us all the time because we want to be right. We want to be liked. We want to believe like other people do. And we were talking about this because, we what's the word? We not blame, but we accuse each other of drinking the Kool-Aid of the other side. And we are both guilty of it, of not seeing the naked truth.
Right.
Because politicians lie on all sides. This is why I don't like politics.
Right, and I understand that.
Yeah.
So let's get serious about this, because this subject has been fascinating to me. Is how people can be fooled, how people can continue to make bad decisions, and then double down on bad decisions. And so this really started coming when I started doing sales training. Mm-hmm. So just a quick, my career, I started off my first professional sales job. I did the football, sell candy and stuff like that, and sold newspapers. Anyway, my first professional job was at Apple Computer, and was very, very well, and it was reported I was number 2 in the world. And I thought, because the numbers were there, that I was good at sales. Now, 8 years later, when I got into another job and it was pure sales, I learned that I was good at customer service at Apple Computer. I took care of my customers. The reason I was selling more apples during certain periods is because I wouldn't give them the lease. I wouldn't sell Lisa, and I didn't lock up their cash flow. So it had nothing to do with my ability to sell. I was just caring about the customers. Mm-hmm. Once I learned sales, though, I realized it's completely different. So then when I started doing sales training, one of the lines I learned after a while is, look, if you're going to change the way you sell, you have got to give up all your successes as well as all your failures.
So in other words, you have to be in the present moment.
Yeah, and the analogy is Tiger Woods. When Tiger Woods would get injured or something else, he'd have to completely change his golf swing. Mm-hmm. And there was no halfway measure for him. He would literally change everything, and he would fight the instincts from before and the muscle memory from before and whatever, and he would relearn how to swing. And sometimes it didn't work for him, and then sometimes it did.
And that's a habit. We have to change our habits too, because that's what a swing is.
So what I would find is if people couldn't make that decision to change the way they did things, they would say, well, this doesn't work, this will never work. They would literally put blinders on, even though they saw success in front of them. And they would say, that was luck, not system. That just would have happened anyway.
Well, I absolutely think there's fear in there because people want control. They're afraid to try new things.
Speaking of selling lines, is it tit for tat? Fear leads to control. You got that from me.
Yeah.
So good for you.
Yes, I did.
So that's absolutely true.
Okay. All right. We're losing the Nietzsche thread.
No, we're not really losing. I'm trying to say that why people
What are you trying to say? You're taking a long time saying
why
it.
people lie to themselves. Why do they fool themselves? Why can they not face the truth? And these are some of the reasons, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and he talks about Joseph, I believe it's Schreiber. We don't prioritize truth. We prioritize self-presentation. And conversations are very much performances. You know, we want to look good, we want to look smart, and they're not always fact-finding missions. They're not always, you know, we were talking about, he accused me of not having critical thinking skills, which sometimes is kind of true. I don't always ask enough questions. Or any question at all, as a matter of fact. And so, you know, any kind of fact-finding mission takes critical thinking. Is it the truth? How do I know it's the truth? Who, you know, what's my source? And so we have to be able to do that. And bring it back to Nietzsche. He says we only seek truth when it benefits us. And I kind of agree with that.
I absolutely agree with that. So so my story led into that. When you listen to the podcast, you'll hear that.
Means I have to listen to him.
Yeah, I know. Here's another one though. I wanted to get in the veterinary business, and when I was working for vets in college to decide if I was going to do this, people would bring in an animal that they'd overfed, that was old, that was, you know, it's in pain, and they were afraid to let the animal go. And one of the doctors told me, I said, this is awful. Why don't you just tell them they should put the dog down or the cat down? Yeah. And he says, hey, this is my bread and butter. And he said, along with that, besides being my bread and butter, and this is where I make all my money, he also said, you try and tell one of these people that they can't spend another week with their dog, and they don't care if the dog or the animal is in pain, because they don't want it, because it's that selfish interest, that fear of loss.
Yeah, I understand
so
that.
That's what is going on here. People will literally choose whatever makes them feel the best.
Of course. And, you know, truth is always, it's always great until you get with a bunch of friends and no one's going to agree with you, and then you're not going to share it.
Right. Right. Well, and when we want to protect our egos, and we want to do other things.
Right. And, you know, and all of us lie every day. Everybody lies. I think, what is it? I think
the normal person tells a lie every 10 minutes.
Something like that. I thought it was like at least 30 a day. But yes, and we can always tell, you know, it's like P.T. Barnum. There's a sucker born every minute.
Right.
If you say something with enough conviction, someone's going to believe you. And it's very true. I can say a lot of things, and it's like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but, you know, I mean, I usually do, and only because I have, you know, integrity for the most part. And if I don't know something, I'll find it out. And at the same time, how many resumes have you seen where people have a little white lie, or they fib? It's like they'll never check. We do all kinds of ways, and we think, oh, it's minor. Then it becomes a habit, you know, and so it's and especially now on social media. I don't know if I would call them lies, but we all see snippets of people's lives or supposed lives that are fabulous, and, you know, look at the life I live, and then, you know, the next thing they're fighting with their boyfriend or yelling at their kids. We don't see that part.
How about the two young influencers?
Oh, the gay couple.
No, not the gay. Well, that was a whole different thing. That's just sick. The gay couple saying a lovely family with two boys, and turned out they were pimping them out, and it was.
They're going to jail now. So.
No, it's about the two influencers that got caught with their car loaded with cocaine, because they were living the lifestyle and telling how successful they were and all the things they were doing. Meanwhile, they're running drugs from Mexico.
I haven't heard that story.
Oh, that's great. They're both doing 20.
We talk about side gigs all the time, so they didn't want to drive Uber. They drove drugs.
25 to life or something. Anyway,
That's oh my God, that's too funny.
Well, here's the hard part. Like, for example, I do care a lot about animals, and I truly want to get in the vet business for that, and it would have been very difficult for me to operate.
Even though he keeps telling me to kill my dog.
I am not telling you to kill your dog. I'm just saying you're biased, and you are not going
I am not going to let Roscoe live. We just found out that my dog has a heart murmur, and so the cardiologist said we're going to give him these pills. It'll stop the disease from going further, and you have a good at least year and a half with him. He'll be 15. He's 60 pounds. That's pretty good. I'll take it.
Right, and the discussions are because I love your dog, and I don't want your dog to suffer. And I do know that you are going to be an absolute wreck when the dog is gone. And so, even if you
please send me drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I will be a basket
And so we
case.
had tough conversations, and that's the point I wanted to make. We have to have at certain times tough conversations. And so this is the part that, just hear me out on this. So right now, DOGE is going through, and they're looking for all the waste that's going on. Wow, that was a face. All the waste that's going on, and they're trying to get rid of the waste for a bunch of reasons. And you may not agree exactly with the way they're doing it. They really brought out the scaffold
or what they're doing. But go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. Our debt, $36 trillion. The interest on it is like $1 trillion every 3 months or something.
I'm not saying I disagree with the premise.
Well, you've got it. Then you've got to go through with the process on it. Except, and I'm not talking about Democrats in general. I'm talking about the Democratic politicians. They're just going after them like Elon is evil. He's hiring young people. They're doing everything except saying, you know what? And if you look back at what they say, video clips of Democrats in the past, presidents, senators, presidential candidates, we do have waste in Social Security. We do have waste in this. We do have waste, and we've got to cut the waste. And for the
but to fire and then say, "Oops, we didn't mean to fire the people that were in important positions."
Okay.
Like I said.
Anyway, the whole thing is the United States, and again, if you're not from the United States, you probably disagree with this. We are really the keystone for the Western world. And if we go down and if we go bankrupt, it's just like if a healthcare company goes bankrupt, they can't help sick people. So we have to get fiscally sound.
If with all the contracts that Elon has now, he should be able to buoy the country up by himself.
Anyway, look, this whole thing is about dealing with truth when it's critical, and how to face that truth, and how we block ourselves from the truth. And literally from a business standpoint, and the world runs on business, if the United States does not solve its debt problem, it imports far more than it exports in every single country out there. I don't think there's a single country, well, maybe Venezuela, where we export more than we import.
Okay, so So how does Nietzsche fit into this?
Because people are trying, I think politicians are trying to protect themselves at the expense of the American taxpayer. And I think that the people that have backed and voted for these people are protecting themselves. And even though their approval rating's really low right now, there's still enough people. I can't believe that everybody's not on board with this. And there is going to be pain on this. That we have to become a fiscally sound a country, and if we're not fiscally sound, it's all going to hell. Nobody's going to get Social Security. Nobody's going to get health care.
Nobody's getting it now.
Well, that's not true.
They are getting it now. They are getting it now. That was just a tease.
So here's the question: do you think that this is impacting you?
I think it will. I think that. I don't think they are. Part of truth is transparency, and I do not think they are being transparent. And I don't want to get heavy duty into politics.
No, and I said I wouldn't.
Yeah, well, you kind of did. So I will just say that I am worried that there's a lot that's going on beneath the surface, and you know what? On both sides that we don't know. So. That's why I'm looking to move to Europe.
And I think the Nietzsche factor, the Nietzsche thesis, I think it's alive and well right now. What's going on in the United States.
And Johnny Thomson, we're coming back to you because I think we need to have another conversation on this. So we're going to invite you on to chat with it.
Oh my God, yeah, he would be great going into the details on this stuff. And one of the struggles is, just to end this, we went a little long. One of the struggles in this
because of all your stories
is
about
us to be able to look into it. Yeah, and I should probably shorten them and tighten them up. Hey, let's do this podcast again.
Okay,
We'll recut it. Okay.
All right. On that note, I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler.
And this has been Biz-Souls. We'll see you next time.
Love ya!
You've been listening to the Biz-Souls podcast with your hosts, Rona Lewis and Jeffrey Hansler. Did you have fun? Subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. Talk to you next week.